everyone, Jared here, and today I want to talk about the future of the PlayStation Vita. I don't know if you know this, but the PlayStation Vita is Sony's least successful platform ever. If we look at their main platforms, they have the PlayStation 1, the PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 4, PlayStation Portable, and PlayStation Vita. And every single one of those platforms sold in excess of 50 million units. PlayStation 4 is currently at 50 million units. The PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 sold over 100 million units. PlayStation 3 is around 84, 85 million units. And the PlayStation Portable is around 82 million, somewhere around there. And then the Vita is at around 14 million, and it's been out for 5 years. So what happened? And is the PlayStation Vita dead? Well, really, from a little bit of the research that I've been doing, I think 2017 it's done. There will still be new games coming out for it. I have no doubt about that. There's a lot of games that came out in 2016. But in terms of a viable platform, it's over. Hardcore fans, myself included, we're all trying to do whatever we can to keep the Vita alive, but it's over. Just in Canada, as an example, you cannot buy a PlayStation Vita online. If you check all the major websites where you would buy a PlayStation Vita or just games in games in general, you have Best Buy, you have Amazon, Toys R Us, Walmart, and EB Games. All 5 of those companies or websites or what have you are currently not selling Vita hardware. In fact, Best Buy has a whopping 3 Vita games that they're selling, and that's it. If you type Vita, you will get nothing else. That says something, you know. When Canada-wide, we're talking the whole country here, when you go online, which is how most people buy their games, yeah, they go to the shops and stuff like that too, but if I can't go online and purchase a PlayStation Vita, I think that's pretty much it. And just a quick look at the US websites, and you're going to see a very, very similar situation. The PlayStation Vita is slowly being shifted out of the retail space, and it makes sense. The platform didn't sell. And why didn't it sell? I know I've done videos of this in the past, and I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that those memory cards really killed the system. They were just so expensive for the proprietary cards, and not only that, but let's be honest with one another here. As successful as the PlayStation Portable was, towards the end of its life, sales had really dried up. And instead of exciting people about this potential future platform, I don't think Sony ever did a really good job of marketing the device correctly. It was supposed to be essentially a PlayStation 3 on the go. And I mean, there's still a lot of people who are like, well, was that something that we wanted? And it's funny because now Nintendo is essentially doing that with the Switch, where literally you can take your console on the go. It's going to be fascinating to see how that actually plays out for them, considering that was essentially the whole thing with the Vita. Now, there were a lot of mistakes Sony made. This should have had a TV out feature by default. It really should have, because then it could have been something like that, where it's like, well, you can play it like this, or you can just, HDMI out, straight to your TV, boom, there you go. But they didn't do that. They had the ridiculously expensive memory cards, and very, very quickly I think it became obvious to Sony that this platform just was not going to be what they thought it was going to be, and slowly but surely the AAA games just stopped coming. It made no sense to me too. This platform has the best analog sticks I've ever played on a portable, okay? They're great. They really are great. And yet it took so long to get a quality first-person shooter. I sort of sit back now and I wonder, what if Killzone, I think it was Mercenaries, would have been a launch title? I know they went with Uncharted, and that was kind of cool. I really liked that game, actually, Golden Abyss. But what if they would have had Killzone and really showed that, wow, you know, like you can have a console quality first-person shooter on a portable. And again, I know a lot of people have said for years that, well, you know, people don't want a console experience on the go. But I really wonder if that's true, considering what Nintendo is doing right now and the direction that Nintendo's going, where you'll literally be able to take your console on the go. They had to have some sort of market research that showed them maybe people are interested in that. So then it comes down to, I think, really going back to those damn memory cards. I think that was ultimately what shot them in the foot, and then lack of marketing, and then lack of gaming diversity. Games like Gravity Rush or Freedom Wars were phenomenal games that really did cater to that portable audience, or basically gaming on the go. But I think it was just way too little too late by that particular point in time, and it's sad. So what I'm probably going to do this year is something like I'm going to do with the Wii U, which I'll probably be doing a lot of different videos talking about, you know, the future of these platforms, where they're going, maybe some memories, and probably some top 10 lists. So I'll try and get Steven involved for the Wii U video. But I think like that's pretty much it for the Vita. We're going to get new releases. I have no doubt we're going to get more new releases. Probably going to start seeing a lot more digital stuff. You're going to see less and less at the storefront. I mean, obviously, if Best Buy is offering 3 games on the Vita, ouch, you know. I also expect you're going to see a hell of a lot of games from companies like Xseed, where they'll only put out a release on their website. There won't be a retail release in the standard, you know, going to Toys R Us and finding one. I think that's really going to stop happening. I think you're going to see it very quickly. You're going to see Vita just pulled off shelves because it's just not selling. And so you can't possibly blame these retailers. 14 million units in 5 years for Sony's standpoint is an utter failure. There's no other way of looking at it. But I don't think the system's going to be discontinued. They did discontinue the PlayStation TV, which is another real, like, you know, scratching my head there. I don't understand that. There's so much potential for the PlayStation TV that just never was realized. It was almost like they're just putting out this this platform and just not thinking about it at all, which I totally don't understand. So with some serious potential there. And there was a real potential for PlayStation Vita with a remodel, like I said, with like an HDMI out, where you wouldn't have needed another device. But it never happened. Or some sort of remote play, but in reverse, where if you had a PlayStation 4, you could play your Vita games on the TV without the need of a PlayStation TV. But anyways, Sony made a lot of mistakes, I think, with the PlayStation Vita and with the PlayStation TV. Reminded me a lot of the PlayStation 3. And it's funny that when you look at the Vita and you look at the PlayStation 4, it's hard to believe that they're the same company, just because of all the different mistakes that were made with the Vita. And it's unfortunate because it was actually a really very good platform. And coming off the PSP that has dozens and dozens of incredible games, as a fan, it is disappointing. It's disappointing that, you know, it couldn't hit like 30 million units, 40 million units, something like that, and stay as a relevant platform and have Sony continue to support it so that third parties would continue to support it. So that's a little bit, it's a little sad. It's a little sad what happened with this. I will be shocked if Sony ever releases a portable again, or at least in the near future. I think that's it. They're going to concentrate now on their PlayStation 4, and that will be that. But already with PS4, we're seeing some bizarre moves they're making, like with the PlayStation 4 Pro. I still don't quite understand where they're going with that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And that's pretty much it. So I just want to do a little video basically talking about, you know, the PlayStation Vita in 2017. I probably screwed up PlayStation Vita and PlayStation Portable 50,000 times in this video, but whatever, I apologize for that if I've done that. But I think that's it. I think this year will probably be the last year where there's any sort of, you know, standard releases for the PlayStation Vita, I think you're going to have a very hard time finding hardware. So if you want to buy a PlayStation Vita, now is the time to do it before they're gone for good, and then you'll have no choice but to import them from Japan, which is fine. You can probably get them for a good deal. It's just going to be shipping and things like that where it could add up relatively quickly. So it's a little bit unfortunate. Goodbye, my friend. We're going to have more games, like I said, I'm sure. It's just, it's always sad when platforms slowly, move on. The Wii U is a perfect example of that. Pretty much that platform towards the later half of 2016, the Wii U was also pretty much gone, but you could still buy it. That's the big difference. With the Vita, like I said, right now in Canada anyway, you can't even buy one, which is, it's kind of sad. But we'll see what happens in the future. And for everyone else there, go ahead. I guess we can start talking about some of our favorite memories. But I'm going to do separate videos on that. This is more just an update of, what's happening with the PlayStation Vita in 2017. So that's it, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. And I'll catch you all in the next video.